Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
It's very nice to see you after the bail conference
Oh, it's
that
great to
we,
see you. And what a fantastic conference it was.
I know. I mean, this is what we're going to be talking about here today. We just wanted to do a brief recap and summary of what happened for those who were there. We want to thank them for spending their weekend, their Saturday with us. And for those who weren't, just to give them an idea about what happened, what they missed. And we also want to talk about at the end. I would like you to talk a bit about the award that you received because you were one of our award winners on Saturday. Congratulations for
Thank
that.
you very much.
But let's start then by talking about the bail conference and how it went. I mean, we received an overwhelming positive responses from everybody online and in person. I mean, both went really well, whether it was online and in person. I mean, didn't have any problems, no technology problems. Everything went well. And it was really well attended. It was full in person, and we had a lot of people online as well. So, and the weather was perfect. So, I mean, it couldn't be any better. So, I will let you talk and tell us a bit how it went.
No, it was absolutely fantastic. We had a great location downtown in Toronto. Took us a bit of time to find it, but once we
Yeah.
finally got it, it was phenomenal as part of Toronto Metro University. And thank you to them for all the help they gave us. We had well over 100 people just in the room, which was amazing. It just created so much energy. People liked being there. They liked seeing each other. They liked asking questions. You could feel just the happiness, and the excitement. I think as soon as we started, and then we had just a great slew of topics and speakers that went right from 9 till just after 4. And what I was really impressed by was not just how well the speakers were prepared and how impressive the presentations were. It was more that just like, we kept going and we kept building off of what we had learned already. The audience kept having questions. It really felt like there was a lot of energy at this conference. And not to toot our own horns, but that's not always the case at these educational
Yeah.
conferences. So I was honestly just so happy with how everything went, and everyone stepped up and delivered. It was just fabulous.
And it was really very nice to see how much people really wanted to learn about bail and how important that topic is. I mean, if there's anything that this conference proved, is how important bail is in the criminal process and how much people really want to know how to get better at bail because it is in crisis right now. In the reality of courts, we do have problems. And we tried as much as possible to cover many of the issues that we encounter in bail courts. And I think the conference did it well. I mean, the speakers gave a lot of practical advice on how to deal with bail issues on different types of levels and problems that we encounter. So it was really very nice to see that a conference that was just dedicated to one specific topic really attracted that many people.
No, and because there's so many different, aspects of what a bail hearing really is
Mm.
about. Obviously, we covered the law, right? The sections of the criminal code that matter, the big Supreme Court of Canada cases. That's important. But then what was really good about this were how the speakers and the panels would address, the realities of what it
Mhm.
means to represent somebody maybe without means, who's particularly vulnerable, what programs might be available in your local community to help them, how to communicate that to the crowns appropriately, and what they need to hear, maybe to reconsider some of the positions they've taken. Or if you want to consider something else, like using electronic monitoring or whatnot, we had a whole presentation on that. How to just apply for it. What website do you go to? What form do you fill out to get that kind of a ball rolling? And I think those practical aspects to this, I think, really added something because it's easy to go to one of these conferences and hear a lot about case law and sections of the criminal code, all of which
Exactly.
is important. Don't get me wrong, but actually hearing on a practical basis, how should I prepare my client for this? How should we negotiate with the Crown? How should we even schedule a bail hearing in a busy location like the Toronto Regional Bail Center? These are, I know, difficult things when you start off, when you're a student or a new lawyer, just getting used to the culture where you are or some of the important practical aspects of what you're going to do. And I really have to say, I was so happy that the panels all seemed to blend, this law slash academic aspect with the practical aspect so well. And I hope that people came out of there, especially if you're a defense counsel, with a real improvement in your understanding of what to do, in order to do better for your clients.
Yes, and also the caliber of speakers that we had. I mean, we have to thank all of them.
Mhm.
We really made our best to select some of the best in the practice. And we had some amazing lawyers, justices of the peace, and judges who were there. And it was really very nice to see them take their time and happy to be there at the conference. So that was also very rewarding.
No, it was fantastic. And I mean, the justices of the peace that came and could talk about, they hear these bail hearings all the time. What is it that's impressing them? What is it that isn't? What helps them make a decision? And then having Justice Mirza from the Superior Court, I
Yeah.
mean, what an amazing contributor that was, because we could hear, well, at a bail review or a Myers review with the Superior Court, what's different there? And he spoke a lot about the importance of written advocacy and preparing your materials properly, and what the Superior Court judges might expect that will be a little bit different than what will happen in the Ontario Court of Justice. So I can't thank the speakers enough. Everybody just contributed so well. And we also put together for each panel, obviously, some of the materials. If you need the cases or some of the other things we talked about, everything is there and the resources are available. So if you couldn't come, I'm assuming those are all online and they can be distributed to anyone who's interested. And take the time to review them. They're meant to be helpful, and I think they were really, really great.
Yes, they were, and we did. I believe through Wicked, we did send already the link to the recording because it was recorded. So everybody who registered will have a link, and as well as the materials that were mentioned during the presentation. So that was also really very helpful. And as you mentioned, like it wasn't just focused on the law, but it was also very practical, and that's sometimes what we're lacking these days because we don't have enough mentorship going around. And even when we do have CPD programs, they tend to be focused on the law. But the difficulty that many new lawyers or lawyers who are on their own, what they're lacking is the how to do things. And this is why this is one of the reasons why we wanted to have this conference. We wanted it to be a practical conference about bail. And I think we were able to achieve that through this conference, that we gave bail its time and we really got into the practice of bail.
No, absolutely. And again, I can tell you this, as someone who hears these once in a while, not as much as I did before we merged in Toronto, but I still do. I'm always open to suggestions on procedure or how we might be able to improve things and do them better, right? This one good thing about this profession, one really good thing, is that we have so much capability to improve and to evolve. And if you're a younger lawyer or student watching this, and you have ideas or wonder, why do they still do things that way? Don't be afraid, at least in front of me, and I imagine many of my colleagues, to sometimes propose something different. The worst case scenario is the presiding jurist may say, well, no, we're not going to do it that way in this case for whatever reason. But believe me, creativity should be rewarded and encouraged. And as long as everyone's fundamental rights are protected, then I'm all for trying to do things better. And I think we heard a lot about, quite frankly, at this conference, how maybe we can start to do better, especially in terms of compiling the information that's helpful and communicating it to the people, Crown, Judge, Justice, whoever it is, to make those decisions, right?
Yes, and that is a really very good point because this is one of the things that we really wanted to do, and that's why we wanted to make sure that we had people at the conference who were from all levels of justice system
Mhm.
participants, that it wasn't just a defense focused conference or just a Crown focus. It was really for everybody. And it's because it is important for us all to have this discussion. I mean, bail is a problem for everyone. It's not just a problem for defense or for the Crowns. It's a problem for everyone in general. And so it was nice for us all on that Saturday to be all together in the same room, discussing all these ideas and talking about the frustrations that we're dealing with. And I really hope that it gave people a better understanding of the other side and of the different perspectives
And
in
just a
bail.
chance to meet people too and talk,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I know a lot of what we do now is virtual, which has its advantages, but it's nice, just to get together and see one another and talk and find out what's going on and maybe make a connection or two, maybe find a mentor or something else. It was really wonderful. Really. It was
Yes.
just congrats to us, Maya. It was really great.
I know. I'm very proud, honestly, really very proud. Like this is an achievement that I feel that we have. It's really very nice to do something because I really feel like we did something for the profession. It's a
Yes.
way to start a conversation, a meaningful conversation among each other about bail. We also have to thank our sponsors, though, because we did
Yes.
have some people who allowed this conference to happen. Iman Publishing, always very supportive of any WiCCD project. We had Destination CPD, but we also had Heathcote, DeMello Heathcote, and the Cooper, Scheim, Sandler, and Schwartz and Truber firm, and my firm. We sponsored this conference, but I want to thank everyone who believed in the concept of the conference, because it's our first edition. We never had a bail conference before. So for people to take that risk and to be willing to do that, and I think they're happy. Like, I don't think they regret putting their money in
No,
this
no, it
conference.
really was fantastic. And I can't thank the sponsors enough either. It made a huge difference.
Yeah.
We were able to keep this, at zero cost for participants, which is just so great. I know, I remember what it's like, especially when you're coming out of law school, you may be struggling with the debt load and everything else, but you want to be involved and you want to understand what's happening. The fact that we could make this so accessible to people was just fantastic. And we could not have done that without the very generous sponsors that we had. So thank you. Thank you very much.
And I know you mentioned, Your Honor, wanting to make change and to improve things. And you are actually one of the justice system participants who do care about the profession, not just, like in doing well. And I mean, you've contributed a lot beyond what you do in court, but even you're always involved in CPDs and writing books. And you're really someone who clearly cares about the profession and cares about the law and about our clients, which is not always the case, because sometimes you can feel that crowns and judges don't really connect with our clients' stories. In your case, you also had a recent case, a bail case, Nanabush, that was also discussed at the conference, that really shows where you really describe the difficulties that vulnerable clients have. And that's one of the things that was discussed in the panels. It's the difficulties that especially vulnerable clients deal with. But going back to you, not just your work and your case, it's you really do a lot. You've always done a lot, even when you were a crown, but you're continuing to do that even as a judge. And that is why you were one of our award winners at the conference. So I hope your
Oh,
award
was
is
I? Is that right?
congratulations. I mean, I think it's so well deserved. I mean, I had the honor to work with you, and to see, how dedicated you are and how passionate you are. And I remember when we were first talking about this, I mean, I was afraid that you might say, like, conference about bail, like, what a stupid idea. But right away, you were like, this is a great idea. And you were
Yes.
really into it. And you were just like pushing for this to happen. I mean, I just am so impressed. And I wish we had you as a judge in the East region, because we need a lot of people who are like that. So I want you, though, to know how much we appreciate you at WiCCD, because you are also one of the early supporters of WiCCD. I know at the beginning we did have difficulties. Not a lot of people accepted WiCCD, but now I think WiCCD is showing that we are organizing some important events, that there's a lack, and that we're trying to fill in that void. And you are one of the early supporters. So thank you so much. And congratulations on the award. And I mean, I don't know if you want to just tell us a bit about what that means to you. I know you were happy, you were surprised, you had
I was
no
surprised,
idea.
yes. Oh, look, it means a lot to me because I really like doing these things in general. I think it's so great to get involved with education and continuing professional development programs or writing or whatever else it is. It will make you a better lawyer. It'll just make you a better person in general too. But what WiCCD does really is important. I think I felt the weight a bit more since I became a judge about ensuring that this profession really is inclusive and that we continue to attract and retain talent, right? And believe me, I remember what it was like when I started out about 20 years ago. Some courts are difficult to appear in, and some jurists maybe aren't as encouraging as others, unfortunately. I think we're doing much better overall in general. But what WiCCD does is so important because the law in general, I think, still has a bit of a problem about making it an attractive and welcoming environment, sometimes for young women in particular. And what your organization does, which is so fantastic, is creates a network and a place for people to meet and to discuss what they need to discuss and to build friendships, and then to put on great educational programs like this that are practical, but also add so much value. And the fact that I can play any part in that at all, whatever that part is, makes me very, very happy. As if I can go home at the end of the day and think to myself, maybe, just maybe, I've made things slightly better for this profession in my career, then I will retire one day a very, very happy judge. But this in particular, all joking aside, really is quite touching. It's A, beautiful. Whoever picked this deserves like an award of her own. But B, really, really meaningful. And I had no idea that it was coming. So it was a little hard following that great speech that came before me. But the fact that your organization appreciates, the little bit that I can contribute is wonderful. And I'm always here to do more if you'll have me.
Of course we will. I mean, really very happy that you're supporting WiCCD. It really means a lot to everybody. I mean, we were all thrilled to award you. And I just have to mention that there were other people also who received awards. We also gave an award to Nader Hasan because he's also someone who is very supportive of WiCCD and of women's rights in the profession. Genevieve Eliany, who just demonstrated bravery at some point this year. She had an incident in court, and so we wanted to show our support for her by giving her an award. And of course, the other surprise award was to Anita Szigeti,
Yes.
who is the founder of WiCCD and who also had no idea that she was getting an award. We tried really hard to hide it from her. It was very difficult, but we managed to do so. And she really deserves it because she works so hard for mental health, for women, for just the law in general. So it was really very nice to see that recognition at the end for people who contribute as well.
No, and it was so genuine too. I gotta say, I could feel, the appreciation for all the other award winners. Anita's, concluding remarks, I think in particular, were very touching and so well deserved, in particular for this amazing organization that you've built. But just the energy that was at this conference in general, it was just so great and so positive. I got to tell you, if every conference I went to was like this, I'd go to a
Yeah.
lot more. But now we've set a high bar for the next one. So
I know. And that's the thing. I mean, like this was actually, I mean, we wanted to see how things would go. This was like a test, but it went so well that, I mean, it's encouraging to have a second edition of this conference. And because bail is also a topic that is always going to be in the news and people
of
are
course.
always going to have to deal with bail. So I think it's going to be very important to keep this a conference going to give people an update about what's going on in bail. And it's a really good time, like it's in the fall, so we get to do a kind of recap of what happened in the year in bail. And I mean, I don't think the problems are going to go away right away, but I hope that we can, at least by starting a discussion with everyone around, that we can do something. I hope we'll have more crowns. We did have some crowns,
We
but
did.
I hope this will encourage more of them to attend as well.
No, I think there's a lot of value to that too. I know that there's great in-house education for crowns. When I was a crown, it was fabulous. I know there's also defense only or largely defense only events that go on too. Also very important, don't get me wrong. But when you can bring people together,
Yeah.
and share both perspectives and get people talking a bit, just considering some of the things that go on, if you're a defense counsel, obviously you're concerned about your clients and maybe about how vulnerable they could be and how they don't have access to the resources maybe that the crown maybe is otherwise expecting. But as a crown myself in my prior career, sometimes these decisions are really tough to make, right? Whether or not you think you should be seeking detention or not. And I know they deal with a lot. They have a lot of pressure on them too. And they work very hard, so being able to get everyone together and just talk about it. We won't always agree. That's why I exist. Sometimes I've got to make a decision. But, just having this collegial bar and this wonderful conference, it can only improve things, right?
Yes, and also one thing that I want to mention, it's just hearing the perspective of the other actors, like crowns. What is it that they're looking for? It helps the
Yep.
defense when they were putting a bail program together or when they want to, before they negotiate with the crown. It's good to know what is it that they're looking for, what are their main concerns, and see if they can address them in advance before they go and talk to them, and to know exactly how to prepare their arguments when they want to talk to the crowns or justices of the peace. And I thought it was very nice to have justices of the peace. We don't always have them in our criminal law conferences. So it was very nice because especially in Ottawa, where I practice mainly, it's justices of the peace who sit in bail hearings.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty much the same thing in Toronto as
Yes.
well. But it's very important to hear from them and to hear what is important for them, what kind of information they're expecting to get at a bail hearing, what they consider to be relevant. And I understand that I appreciate there are some differences between jurisdictions. I think that
Mhm.
is one of the things that came out as well. Uh, but it's nice to know in advance what is it that they're looking for.
No, not only did we have some great speakers who were justices of the peace, we had some
Yeah.
great people just in the audience from the Justice of the Peace Bar who wanted to come and learn and contribute too. And I spoke to several of them. So really, by every appreciable measure, a tremendous success.
I'm so happy. I couldn't be any happier with what happened. And it was really, as you said, it just gave us so much positive energy. And it was very nice to see everyone in person and to connect and to make new connections. So I really want to thank you, Your Honor, because I know, I mean, we worked really hard and I know that you put a lot of work as well to prepare for this conference. And I know we've had some stressful moments behind the scenes trying to figure this out, but now it's just so good to think back and to laugh at these moments.
No, it was fantastic. But really, if a true award would be given out, it would be to your organization at large, everyone on your exec and everyone
Oh,
who's a contributing member, because none of this would have happened without the energy, right, and just the dynamism that's obviously part of WiCCD in general. And then you can pull in people like me to help. That's great, but you guys are the core and the foundation, and what you've done really is just tremendous. And you're so young as an organization. Who knows what incredible things
like
you'll
two and a
achieve,
half
right?
years. I
Ah,
know, I
I know.
know. That's our first full day conference. So it was really a very big thing for us. And I really want to thank WiCCD's executive. I mean, we built a sisterhood. We're really very well connected, all of them. Anita mentioned them in her acceptance
Mhm.
speech, but honestly, the WiCCD executive, I adore all these women that I work with. I'm very happy that I got to know them through WiCCD and that we continue to work. But I especially want to thank, of course, Anita and Cassandra because they did a lot of the administrative work as well for this conference. Cassandra DeMello, who also was a sponsor, one of the sponsors of this conference, but also worked so hard to make sure that everything was perfect and that there were no problems for the conference. So there was a lot of work behind the scenes for WiCCD as well. And for us, it was the first time doing this. So now it will be better, even better for next time. But it was really good teamwork. And as you mentioned, always positive vibes. And that's the most important thing and what's
Always.
lacking in this profession sometimes.
True, unfortunately true. And in terms of feedback, the feedback we've gotten so far, as I understand it, is excellent. But if anyone's watching this and you were there, or maybe you couldn't even come and you have ideas for the future, I mean, I'd be happy to hear them, and if we can do better again, we'll do even better, right?
Yes. So, well, I think that's all I wanted to say. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to add, Your Honor, about the conference or about the award or in general about bail.
Look, I would just say, look, thank you to everyone who came, whether you came in person or you came online. Just being there showed support. It enabled us to do this to know it was worth it. I left there just feeling tremendous. Like it was so, so great. Not just because I got the award, because the whole conference was so great. And I really feel that it was one of the best run things. I know the people behind the scenes deserve most of that credit, but I really do think we got great panels together. It was just so fantastic. And if this is how we start, again, it'll just get better in the future, whether we do them on bail or other topics. And WiCCD gets all the credit for everything, from your genesis to where we are now. And anytime you need a slightly obnoxious OCJ member to help out, you know how to reach me. Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're obnoxious at all, but thank you. Congratulations again for the award. It's really well deserved. And again, thank you to all the sponsors. Amanda Ross from the executive is also her firm sponsored this conference, and Destination CPD. Like, I don't think we ever dealt with them directly, so it was really very nice for them to assist. So
Yes.
thank you. And Imond, of course,
Hmm.
always supportive of WiCCD.
And if you
So,
didn't get a chance to go, the recording I think is available now, right? And it even has a transcript that accompanies it. Like, that's incredible.
yeah.
So all the content is there. And if you're interested in a certain subject we covered that day, go watch that section of it, right? They're really great.
And we will, not sure when yet, but we will be posting on our YouTube, because we do have a YouTube channel. We will be posting segments from the conference.
Mm,
So that's for those who didn't attend and who didn't register. They can get that. If you've registered, you will receive a link. You've probably already received that link as a registered person. But otherwise, if you haven't, you will have the opportunity at some point to view parts of segments from the conference. So stay tuned for that.
that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
great,
And hopefully I'll see you soon again.
great. Thank you.